Hey everyone, it's Joe Waxman, and I'm back with another video. And today I just wanted to deliver a message for astrology in general. It's something that I've come across many times that I feel it deserves to be pointed out, and I just want to make a video. And, I don't know how many people are going to listen to this or how many people it'll actually influence, but you know what? I like to say stuff, and I don't like to. Um, I just feel like doing it, so I'm just gonna say it. All right. So a lot of times people talk about past lives in astrology, and this means this in a past life, that means that in past life, and blah blah blah, and none of it is verifiable, and it's really just guesswork coming from something that you probably heard somewhere, some other teacher said it, and therefore you're repeating it because you think it sounds good and you think it must be true because you have respect for this teacher. And it's just really one of the things that I find widespread in astrology that doesn't work, and it's bad. It's bad astrology because it's bad thinking. Basically, you're not verifying any of this, right? You don't know what somebody has done in their past life. Therefore, you don't know that this planet means this about the past life or that about a past life or a future life or anything like that. I mean, we don't know what the planets mean in regards to, things that we can't verify through experience. So it's bad astrology because it's just bad logic. It's not good. And then, some of the excuses are that, well, Edgar Casey believed in past lives. Well, I mean, yeah, so I believe in past lives. And there are people out there who have, had, psychic experiences of their own past lives or other people's past lives. There's Dolores Cannon who, took people through hypnotherapy into past lives, and that's all fine. But that's completely different. That's not related to, somebody saying this planet in this house means this about a past life. That's what we have to stop doing. And so I just want to bring up so like one astrologer, Jeffrey Wolf Green, who is like the father of, what we call evolutionary astrology, right? He created that branch of astrology, and a lot of people revere him. Other people just completely discount him and just like don't want to even mention his name, but just don't include him in anything. But both of those are like, if you believe every word he says and say, well, Jeffrey Wolf Green said this means this about a past life, must be true. Or if you're just completely dismissing him and say nothing he says matters. Both of those attitudes are wrong about astrology in general. Like, we shouldn't be dismissing astrologers. We should take what works and vet everything, leave what doesn't work. And just because he said stuff that, sounds good, it doesn't mean it's true. He wasn't right about everything. I mean, he was still human. We're all still human. And as far as I can tell, he wasn't, the most evolved being on the planet. So it's not like, we have any sort of, we don't have, even if they are the most enlightened being in the planet, like Buddha said, don't believe anything I say unless it makes sense to you, unless it resonates with your soul, right? So we have to have this vetting process. We can't just say, well, so-and-so said this about that, and that means it's true. I don't believe Jeffrey Wolf Green knew. I mean, maybe he had an idea, but it's not necessarily concrete. And we can't, just because, like, he might have had some spiritual awareness that said, like, Pluto or South Node shows this about our past lives. And, it's still, unless we have a way of verifying it, unless you are combining astrology with hypnotherapy and say, well, I have evidence that this does mean that about past life because I regress people, multiple people, and they tell me this about their past life. That's experiential. Everyone else needs to shut up about it because you're just parroting nonsense that you have no way of knowing. I'm sorry to be blunt. I'm not sorry to be blunt, but this is just how I like to be about things. So that's the thing. Like, you can't verify it. So you're just repeating stuff that other people may believe or may not believe for their own reasons. People who have valid firsthand experience can say that I have valid firsthand experience. And if somebody else wants to say, I know a person who has valid firsthand experience, this is what they came up with, fine. But everything has to be qualified. We can't just be here saying like, South Node means this about past lives. You don't know that, so you're just lying. You're just making it up. You're just parroting what you've heard. And that's not good astrology. A good astrology has to be based in experience, right? We can start out by saying, well, I learned this from a book, but through my experience, I think something a little bit different because this is what I've observed. That's good astrology. So it cheapens astrology also because here we're you know, we're not drawing on our own experience. And even if you don't notice that this is cheapening astrology, it really is because it comes through in subtle ways. It's the devaluing of personal experience and just parroting what others before you have said. And that is how religions and cults are made, because it's a religious mentality. It creates an incestuous relationship between teacher and student, where you are parroting what you learned from your teacher, and you're teaching your students to parrot you, and therefore it's an incestual relationship because there's no outside influence. If you're not drawing from experience, you're just drawing from rote memory, then that's where the incest comes in. That's where it's like there's no outside influence, there's no genetic variation, right? The parroting rather than experience, it creates dogma and fundamentalist view. This is, in essence, what I said, religion and cult-like mentality, where you're basing things off of a belief that has no life in it. It's not alive. It's not like you've observed it. You can't just, you know, read somebody's chart and see their past life, because that's not how it works. Like, you don't actually know what the planets and signs and aspects mean about a person's past life. We can guess, we can have ideas because we've learned this or that. But like I said, unless you have a way of verifying it, unless you're able to regress somebody and compare it to their chart and say, well, they came up with this about their past life, you know, through past life regression, or you're like the most psychic person in the world and you can just read their Akashic records and like from there discern their past life and say, oh, this is in the chart. It means, you know, South Node and Pluto and the 8th house and 12th house, and, you know, stuff like that. But everyone else needs to stop doing it because it's bad astrology and you're just making shit up. You're just lying. You're just pretending that you know what you're talking about when you're just repeating stuff that you heard. That's not good astrology. Okay. So that's what I wanted to say today. And that's it for now. I will see you again soon. Thanks, bye.